Mic check, mic check. 1 2 1 2. Hallelujah. We give all the glory to you. The prince of the power of the air and his agents shall not prevail. And if you don't know, now you know. Unplugem is in the building. Welcome, all of you wonderful children of God. So good to see you. So good to be here with you. Hold on, let me see here. Working with some new stuff here, so please bear with me. Please bear with me. We had to get all new stuff here and get unghettofied. Can't be Detroitish all your life. Now, welcome. 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 Who's in the house? Amen. Corey Hamrick, he is and shall always be. Now, listen, I don't want to keep y'all waiting too long because we have a lot of business to get to, lots of things to talk about. I know what's on your mind. You're not thinking about Israel and Palestine, especially if you've already conditioned your mind to be on a biblical timeline. You're not on the Nightline timeline. You're not on the Dateline timeline. You're not on the news timeline. See, the news would like to have you confused and have your mind abused and keep you lost in their newest and latest rules. However, we do have to deal with Nova, news, the new things. New things happen every day. There was once a time when every time something new happened on the news, okay, that'll help that buzz a little taste. There was once a time that when that happened, and my mic do sound nice. Thank you, Cookie Cruncher. Welcome, everybody. There was once a time that whenever there was some new news, you felt that it was your obligation, duty, and responsibility as a YouTuber truther to jump out there and tell everyone what the Illuminati meaning of it was and what the symbolism of the occult within that news story was and blah, blah, blah. And it began to become redundant. Because once you've shown a man how to fish, something wrong with that man if you got to keep showing him over and over and over again. Something wrong with one of y'all. One of you needs some help. Now, but bless both your hearts. So I said to myself, so what I want to do is I want to get the listeners to overstand, no matter what the news story is, whenever it's the latest school sniper or whether it's the latest political kerfuffle or whether it's the latest news on the Dandada, Trump, the Gemini, the Joker, the big Joker, or whether it's some news on DeSantos, or whether it's brothers and sisters trying to get reparations with folding chairs. Again, all of these things come across the news cycle, some in a minor way, some in a more of a major way because they affect more of the American population, and those stories tend to get more shine, more attention. And of course, global news stories where there's only a special, there's a special segment of listeners who actually really care about global news, to be honest. There are Christians and brothers and sisters of every race, color, and creed being persecuted and prosecuted by the powers that should not be all across the world. So that is not lost on us. We recognize and realize that all across the world, there are issues in people's tissues because we are in a imperfect world, filled with imperfect people who make mistakes and errors and have misunderstandings, and sometimes who have nefarious intent. Sometimes people's good intention is mistaken for bad. The road to hell is paved with good intentions. The very best of us, those with the purest of hearts, make mistakes and errors. Hopefully you do recognize that, even though your heart may be pure. Sometimes that seems to be an issue. Folks who don't have as much to clear out, the devil knows how to really cement the spirit of Leviathan pride to them, so that although they may not do this and they may not do that, and they may be a holy roller Christian soldier on the outside, within they may be built up full of resentment, or they may be full of unforgiveness or pride, even worse, which will cause for them to be unable to see what it is that is wrong with them. Pride gives you a blind side. You're unable to see what's wrong with what you're proud about. So lots of things have been in the news cycle. Some things folks are proud about and defend vehemently until it just becomes indefensible. I had a lot of ways I wanted to start this, because there's a lot of things that would seem to be more important than what's going on in pop culture. But you have to remember the importance of pop culture to the pop of this world, the father of lies, the prince of this world. He is the pop of this world, and it is his culture that is dominant, no matter where it began. If it began on Sedgwick Ave, or if it began down in the Mississippi Delta. Once he gets his paws on it, once he imprints his cloven hoof upon it, it's no longer the same. And it will not grow and prosper in a devilish land unless it too is devilish. So now let's come to some overstanding. A lot of you here are, you're aware of my background in the music business industry in Detroit, primarily in the late 80s up until about 2000. I was pre-Eminem. I saw when they were building Eminem. I saw when they were grooming him, when they sent him to the hip-hop shop. I was standing in there when he had brown hair and brown eyes. I've seen a lot of things over the years. I didn't make it big, but some of my friends made it. Some of my friends have been on records that you've heard. I've had a couple of them on the broadcast. Again, that ain't no braggadocious thing, but that is to lend some, that is to, for those who need it, to give some idea of what makes anything I say valid, okay? Or how do I know? I've never been to an eyes wide shut party. But then there are some of the most disingenuous thing that I hear people say nowadays is, well, if you weren't there, you don't know. There'd be a whole lot less bodies in the graveyard and prisoners behind bars if folks really went by that piece of advice. You go off of things you don't know all the time. So that's a convenient little way of escaping accountability or escaping whatever backlash may come from speaking out against certain things. So now let's fast forward. There appears to be a purging that's been going on, say since about 2014, 2015, when there was this craze, this movement, if you will, and we're going to look at was that what it really was? But there appeared to be a movement. Folks called it the Me Too movement. Let's get to the screen capture here. And within this movement, there appeared to be a wave of folks coming out who had allegations against powerful men in Hollywood, folks who, both black or white, were considered to be gatekeepers, from Bill Cosby to Harvey Weinstein and everyone in between. And a lot of them went down for it. Folks that truthers and folks that watch conspiracy theories, once considered to be untouchable, went down. Or at least appeared to go down. The Epstein thing came out. It appeared to out a lot of people. Oh, we heard about the wild Epstein parties, didn't we? We even heard some of the notable members of politics and entertainment who went to those excursions. For those of us who are the most skeptical and pessimistic, we said, they're going to move around a few priests, send them to some different parishes, but the Catholic Church will live on, But it didn't appear to just be a Band-Aid. There appeared to be this consistent purging. And although it seemed to have hit a peak around the Cosby conviction, that may have, that and Weinstein and Jeffrey were all the biggest fishes that were caught during that dragnet. And most folks thought, well, all right, we've cleaned up some of Hollywood. It should be safer on these Hollywood streets. However, over the years, we've heard, different actors come out and make statements. Both of the actors who played Spider-Man, ironically, have both given us the idea, both Tobey Maguire and the current Spider-Man have said things. Tobey Maguire said things specifically to the fact of this child-loving epidemic in Hollywood. That's what he spoke on. Then in a couple of days, he retracted, cleaned up his statements. I remember these things. These are the things I remember. Lots of things I can't remember. But I remember how a whole lot of stuff went down. Then, not too long ago, the newer Spider-Man, he said he just wants to hang out with his friends. This Hollywood stuff is not what he thought it was going to be. A lot of them seem to have that reaction to Hollywood. Was my man that played in the Transformer movies, he was going through quite a mental breakdown or disturbance at one time. He seemed as if he was trying to reconnect to normalcy. A lot of them, they go into this magic world, this magical kingdom, this la la land, and they end up just desiring normalcy, crying out for it. Now, there's a couple of things that I want folks to come away from this broadcast understanding, because I know some big shots listen too. So I want folks to understand the child love part and why it's done, because Jaguar does not have the ability to explain that, or she doesn't know. I'm sure she has the ability to explain it if she knew. So obviously she doesn't know, because that would answer a lot of the common questions. People are Surprised at hearing certain alpha male acting figures are really fruitacious behind closed doors. You should not be surprised, because that's another part that's never properly explained, even by the most popular truthers, which then causes for the game goofy goobers of the world, who may be famous, who speak on these things, to regurgitate what they heard some half-informed truther say. Nobody makes it make sense. I can make it make sense. So we're going to talk about the child love. And we're going to talk about the dookie love. Because, Luke has gotten brought into this. He should have been brought into it. What are we doing? We've been defending a child that act bad. Even in the midst of the neighbors and the family members and everybody telling you how bad they act, we've been defending this child, this culture. And I'm not just talking about the hippity hop hop. I'm talking about American pop culture, which hip hop is a byproduct of. American pop culture is Babylon. And once you reach the highest heights in said culture, the Babylon part is revealed to you to be more than just metaphorical or allegorical. It's more than just an analogy. Once they reach certain levels, the occult comes into play. And people have a hard time dealing with that. Because, see, once you bring the occult into play, all bets are off then. But people don't, the average person halfway believes in the occult. They halfway believe in it because they'll say superstitious things. They'll give every indication that they believe in spirits and that they believe in evil spirits and they believe in angels and they believe in God and they believe in devils. They'll give you every indication of that. But if you want to get down to the bare bones of how the spirit realm works, folks get scared. Because, now you asking me to really think about it? I don't have time. Well, the spirit realm does. And that's why this world is in the spiritual disarray that it's in. Because the spirit realm is paying attention to the physical realm and manipulating it on the daily and at will, unbeknownst to the physical material realm. This was not always the case. So let us get back to a place of understanding spiritual things. So let's look at some of the things that folks have been abuzz about from the spiritual aspect. And the first thing I would like to do is bring y'all to a clip that I know that you've seen if you've watched Unplugem Illuminindustry. If you've seen the Illuminindustry, Tricked, I think there was Tricked part 9. If you've seen Tricked, the movie series that's in the playlist on the Unplugem channel, there's one in particular. It's called Illuminindustry, where we're talking about the Illuminati within the industry, which, again, I hate to use those terms because goofy goobers have worn those terms to the ground. And so now, again, with folks with big platforms and big voices hear the goofy goobers, they always repeat what goofy goobers say. I defy one of y'all to repeat what you're going to hear Big Unplugem break down tonight. I defy one of you, big platform bosses, with your big bad selves. So now let's go back and look at something. And looking at this is going to put us on a particular page together. Let me make sure. Let me see. Can y'all see what I see? Do you see what I see? Are you seeing the screen? Is everything going well? Can you hear me? You're too near me not to hear me clearly. You hear me? Hello? Okay, I'm just going to assume that you do. So So nobody's saying that you don't. All right, so let's move on. So now, in my Illumin industry, let me give myself some play. Illumin industry. Unplug them. Not that big. Well, the fastest way we can find it is this. I just about remember this title. Puff acting. And it's bigger than Puff Daddy, and you know, you're new here if you think it's something simple that I'm about to do here. There's so much going on. The fallen angel within Sean Combs is calling out for the Father. He's been doing so for a long time. All this fixation with Daddy. All this fixation with Father. I saw a video from a brother who was making the connection. He was showing the alpha males around him during his formative years, Sean Combs that is, were all men who resembled, at least you know, in the most basic way, his father. Daddy's house. This fixation with Daddy. But let's look at something. See, I just about had the title right and exact. And there's a reason, again, I just want to show you this for purposes.
Scrambling and scraping for shit.
This is a bigger problem to me. Make sure y'all can hear. I'm going to check and make sure that you can hear momentarily. Okay, y'all. Listen. I need for you to let me know that you can hear it, okay?
I got Mr. Lee.
Yeah, I love this drink.
Where you put my bag?
I like when you like this, Daddy.
Yeah, where you put my bag?
Daddy, I like when you
right
scrambling
here,
and scraping for shit.
No, I got
I
notes
like
and
that.
shit. You know, I'll be practicing.
That would be the audio. Okay, scene 3 capture. Let's get the Texas desktop audio. We got that. Audio input capture. Okay, let's try that. Desktop audio should be on. Okay. Now let's try one more time.
I got
Okay, well, for those who have seen this clip, and no, I'm not going to do you like that. We're going to figure it out because it's a simple thing to figure out, but I'm going to talk while I figure it out. For those that have seen that clip, see, this is not just about a few people that run Hollywood or a few people that run the music business. It's a larger thing. It's about how those who don't run the business, it's about how the majority are so subservient to that small minority. It really, it's such a microcosm of the prison planet situation that we live in, where the 1% got the 99% shook. All of the pundits that saw that Puff acting sus on Drink Champs clip, all of those folks should have been speaking on it. But the very biggest of them could not do so. For the very simple reason that if you do so, your career may be in jeopardy. Might be a bomb up under your car. You may have a sudden heart attack because, see, that's the, let me write that down too, because I want to get to that. The sudden heart attacks. This is where you get deep into the occult part, because I'm going to have to slow walk you there. I'm going to slow walk you. But the sudden heart attacks, or folks unaliving themselves, like Shakir Stewart. I remember when that story broke. I remember a lot of things about this guy. You know, y'all know he lived, it wasn't in Detroit, but folks would say it in the Detroit area. He actually did live there for real. And the studio owner, engineer, the guy who taught me all about recording, Jerry Flynn, who's going to be on the show after the 11th, January 11th, they're going to be giving him a special honorary 50 years of hip hop award for Detroit. But anyway, he was going out there to do something with Diddy, something engineer wise. Okay, he wasn't partying and hanging, which I remember. I remember we was teasing about that back then, but now in hindsight, I'm glad he went just to do work. But I'm gonna ask him when we get him on here on the 11th if that's all that he saw. But anyway, so you know, I've been hearing about this situation for a long time, never thinking anything was going to happen. And even what you see happening now, it's overplay for the underlay. I'm sorry, I just have to tell you. What's going to happen? Yes, he's going to go down. A couple other folks are going to go down. But this is an out with the old world, in with the new world situation. The same thing with the Palestine and Israel conflict. It too will be resolved in such a way as to set up the out with the old world and the old point of view and end with the new world order norm. So see, there was an old world norm, the casting couch. Again, you know, zooming in again on the entertainment aspect of it. There was an old world order in entertainment. That old world order in entertainment was the casting couch situation, which, again, that's the exoteric level of things. So on the exoteric, on the outer level of things, it looks like to us there's some weirdos in the music business who have some very strange, deviant behaviors behind closed doors. And people just kind of, yeah, there's a lot of alphabet people there. And, you know, not to be disparaging toward any one particular group of people who are struggling with something. But yes, you know, perversions and fetishes and things of that nature are not foreign to that community, can we say? And wherever you are introducing lack of inhibition, you increase the probability for certain things to happen, especially when you're dealing with a group that does have a heightened awareness or sensibility concerning sexuality. But that's just a way to explain it away. That's not it. Those folks are not doing those things because they enjoy those things. Christopher Williams was not doing what he was doing because of enjoyment. No more than when you see Nori scrambling and scraping. Wait a minute, I know what I'm gonna do for y'all. I know what the audio is. Puff acting sus on Drink Champs. So now, One Monkey Don't Stop No Show. No, I couldn't figure it out, but dig this here. Okay, you can hear me? Okay, here we go. So that's what's throwing me off. Why is the sound not coming through on this one? Oh, okay, I know what happened. This.
Yeah, Mr. Lee.
Yeah, I love this drink.
Where you put my
Chance with you. I
bag
like
at?
when you.
Okay, here we go. All right, now we got it. All right, here we go. And again, I'm going somewhere with this. I know you've seen it. This is me.
I got Mr. Lee.
Yeah, I love this drink.
Where you put my
I
bag
like
at?
when you like this, Daddy.
Where you put my bag
Daddy, I
at?
like when you scrambling and scraping
No,
for shit.
no, I got
I
loads
like
of
that.
shit. I'll be practicing. I got
Yeah.
to practicing. I got to. Mr. Lee.
Yeah, I love this drink.
Where you put my
I
bag
like
at?
when you like this, Daddy.
Where you put my bag
Daddy, I
at,
like
Mr.
when
Lee?
you
Oh, it's right here,
scrambling and
it's right
scraping.
here.
When you
Oh, it's right here,
scrambling and
it's
scraping
No,
for
no,
shit.
no, no, no. Okay, yeah, I'm not gonna go over that. I'm not gonna go over that one.
It's your birthday every day. It's your birthday every day.
Every day is your birthday on Drink Champs. Goddamn it. I'm in.
I'm in.
I'm in.
Look back on where I became.
Did you miss me? Did you miss me? Because I mean, it seems like a thing. It was his birthday party. It was his birthday party. But I'm talking about for your birthday. Why won't you party with me for your birthday, man?
We partied for my birthday before. You came to my party.
No, but me and you ain't never really partied. You know what I'm saying? Eyes, brother. Eyes. I understand. You know what I'm saying? Yo, okay. So check this out.
Now, at this moment here, everybody at that table is complicit. The Rastaman, everybody at the table is complicit because y'all all are being ultra fake right now. Nori, your gangster has been gone. Your gangster card, if you ever had one for real out there in left rack, should have been revoked. You should mail that in immediately. Jadakiss sitting there mute because, I don't want to say nothing, you know what I mean? He did have us in those shiny suits and we complained, but I was going to, you know what I'm saying? Whatever happened, some folks get untangled one way, but they miss that money. So they got to get, how can you, some of y'all not aware. I didn't like the Locks when it was out. Jadakiss was always nice. I always thought he was nice. Styles P had a good voice. The other dude, trash. But I'm not stupid. I knew Jadakiss was super nice, especially when he was going at Beanie Siegel. I knew that. That don't matter. I remember when they were complaining about wearing the shiny suits, when Puff Daddy was putting them in the shiny suits and making them do this and making them do that. And I remember them talking to somebody, Angie Martinez, or I think it was, on the radio or something, and they were complaining. They was for real complaining. So I give them that. But for all that protesting, here you sit again across the table from this man. Fab, he really pressing Fabulous. Would you come party with me for your birthday? So there's this thing of partying with Diddy. Justin Bieber, especially the young men that he was grooming like Bieber and Usher. And so many others. There was this dude that he had as he was supposed to have been his manservant. And he just reeked of fruitaciousness to me. And I just wonder who all's going to be called. Yeah, this dude. I absolutely couldn't stand this dude. And some kind of way, I believe he was affiliated with Atlanta because he started popping up in Outkast videos too. But he was supposed to have been, again, the official title for some years. He played this role with this umbrella, Project Umbrella. He was supposed to have been Puffy's manservant. The Project Umbrella is because Puff Daddy is intricately involved in the mind control aspect of the music business. The songwriter secret that we will do will be a songwriter secret from Cassie. From Cassie. An artist whose music I am 100% ignorant of. I can't tell you a song, a lyric. Now, there's some of y'all that can. You were probably bigger fans of R&B. You also have to remember that at that time, I was competing. And I know some of you have heard Wayne say in an interview recently with Tyga how he don't like to listen to the stuff when he's making stuff because it affects you. That wasn't no lie. I was like that. So a lot of stuff that came out when I was really digging my heel. Now, again, in the beginning, I listened to stuff and made stuff. But once I really got corporatized, once I got the smell for this corporate costume that hip-hop had donned, and all the promises of this big money that can come, I changed my tune. But, okay, so you look at the Umbrella, Project Umbrella. What was Project Umbrella? Can you prove Project Umbrella existed? If I did, would you even take that into consideration? Because I can also show you another instance where someone who was having mental issues and an umbrella was prominent. It was so prominent, people made fun of it and everything. But looky here. Umbrella was a song Britney Spears turned down singing Umbrella, so it was offered to Rihanna. Do you hear me? Unplugem is in the house. Now, again, you might be new here, but ask everybody else what I do here. We're not going to do it like other people do it. We're going to do it like we used to it. So, again, you have this code word for umbrella, Project Umbrella, which, prior to the internet, you could find more things. Would you believe that? You would think that since the internet information age, they made sure that everything you need to know is right here in this screen for you. Yeah. They found everything that you need to know and put it in here for you. Poppycock. And you a fool if you are operating under that assumption. You should wake up. Things that's necessary for you to know you'll never find on here. There's biology books that, Lord have mercy. Our elders have seen biology books that showed people who were mixed with other things and they had genetic deformities that were anomalies and things that landed some folks in the circus sideshows. But these things existed. They were talked about in science. But see, you are supposed to only think that certain things are possible. So they keep certain mundane, normal, run-of-the-mill stories in front of you. And even when something is extraordinary, they strip it down and make it run-of-the-mill. So Project Umbrella was a part of MK Ultra program. The MK Ultra program, pardon me. Will they? Because, there's this idea of, within government projects, let's say we're doing a government project on reverse engineering some ancient machine that we found. Well, there may be a umbrella project or a sub-project up under that where we have some archaeologists here studying the language of that ancient civilization, okay? So you have the umbrella project. It falls under the reign of some other project, supposedly. But I remember when I was reading the papers and downloading these papers from the internet and still able to go to the library and get a lot of things. You did find Project Umbrella, and Project Umbrella was the entertainment branch of MK Ultra. I started to say music branch, and I may have said that in past videos. But what I recall was that it was not just the music branch. It was the entertainment branch. So this umbrella project under MK Ultra, Mind Control Ultra, which is mass mind control, learning how to produce mass mind control effects over a large segment of the population, as well as knowing how to produce mind control effects in individuals. So with the umbrella project was, let's insert mind control into entertainment. Some of those things, the backward masking craze that you have heard about. It wasn't rockers who came up with the backward masking. The purveyors of these government projects come up with those ideas, and then they give them to the entertainers. Many entertainers are not very bright, or they are focused on their craft so much so that they may neglect learning about other things or focusing on other things. You only have so much focus and so much space on that old hard drive upstairs. So the agencies would recruit entertainers. Many of you were here when we read the book by Dave McGowan, Weird Scenes Inside the Canyon, where he talked about how so many of the 60s rock legend icons were all connected to the military intelligence complex. A great deal of them had high-ranking fathers. To see, we all play our part in this game, and one person passes on a piece of information to another person. They put it together, and now we have a bigger piece. We can pass it on to another person, and they can add on to that. And then we began to see through this glass dimly and darkly. And folks can stop saying, "Oh, well, I ain't never seen him nothing. I ain't never seen him do nothing." All three of these dudes see him doing something. It's clear. If nothing else, you acting weird. Now, it's been some time. I don't hang out. You stop hanging out. Most folks that are on the road to maturity in your 30s. Seriously. So I don't hang out anymore. But I do recall that when it was, a few brothers sitting around here, and one of the brothers come in acting like Puffy, it's going to be some understanding. Somebody got to get some understanding. Hey, man, you drunk? What's wrong with you, dog? Somebody's got to check and make sure that the brother's okay. They acting like this is normal. That was the most disturbing part of the whole thing to me. Was this told me all of y'all is fake. All of you are fake. You all know terrible things. You all may know some terrible things beyond just the fruitacious behavior. Jadakiss and them was around big. And Noriega's grinning like the goofiest of goobers. I don't know no brothers who wouldn't have said to this man, "Hey, yo, man, don't talk to me like that, man. What's wrong with you?" I know some brothers that would have stole on him With the eye to eye, yeah, eye to eye, motion to motion. So yeah. So this is so what we're seeing now is the public has become so hyper aware of the pedo business, of the doogie love, of the suspicious deaths, of the eyes wide shutness that happens in entertainment in Hollywood. The public has gotten to the point where the powers that be feel a little threatened. Just a little. That if the people keep scratching at the surface here, if they keep doing these internet investigations, if these people keep questioning these figureheads that we placed before them, we put Puffy in his place. And we set him before you to control you nigglins. And all you niggling lovers, we put him there. He's a pawn. But should he ever be derelict at his duties and unable to do his job, that's what we're looking at now. When the new order guard comes in, they're going to be so spiffy clean, they won't look like they're going to do nothing. Puffy looks the part because he was fooled by hip-hop like so many other young men were fooled, dressing like a thug in a hood. So it's easy, at the end of the day, if we want to turn on this man and say, despite his soft image, his pop music image, his love image, we cause for him to nigrify himself enough to where when it's time to push the button and drop him off the cliff, won't be no problems. They can do it with ease. And then, what do you do? Do you defend a man when do you defend a man who danced with devils when them same devils decide to whoop on him? No. The word of God says that we should not, wish ill on anybody. But, God will not be mocked. And there's always two things at work. There's what the devil's doing, and it's what God's doing. What the devil is doing is simply moving around some moving parts. He's going to continue doing what he's been doing in his business. But there's something that God is doing. Now it's time for us to talk about that. And I have my notes right here. I haven't forgot to talk about what I tell you I'm going to talk about. But what is God doing in this moment? God is, in my opinion, at this moment, there is an awakening that's happening among young people, period. Young people of every so-called race, color, and creed are waking up and rebelling against the foolishness of the elders. That's taking a lot of forms. Sometimes it don't look good, and sometimes it's misdirected, and it needs direction because young people lack direction. You can't know where you're going if you've never been there before, especially if you don't have an accurate map or if you're relying on GPS. But there is a call for accountability that's reaching beyond Hollywood and the entertainment business and into the art forms and the cultures that folks have embraced so blindly and are always so ready to apologize for. While simultaneously, the information age has caused for folks, for certain things that were always dubious to really get blown out the water now. These kids today, they're not tripping off of these young people now. Will never be sold on the Jewish lie. They'll never be sold on it. Talking about black and white. So you don't have to fight and fuss and, oh, well, I'm a this, I'm a that, and yell it from the rooftops. This is happening. It's a happening. And it's some things people won't allow for you to tell them, even if it's true. It's not on you to tell them. It's on them to realize it. And that's where we're going. There's going to be a realization across this world and this nation that will reveal what has been hidden. Where there was a question, well, who are they then? Chosen is as chosen does. And again, it's not a thing of, should not be a thing of pride. Pride to give you a blind side. Plus, we dropped the ball. All who would consider themselves having something to do with that lineage. That's a past thing. This is why the focus was then brought on the new king, who is the same God in the flesh. You couldn't just deal with a God in spirit. You needed a tangible example. Here you go. One that's all good. Whereas in Yahweh, or Yahweh, or Yahovah, it was the positive aspect in the Yah and the negative aspect in the Wah or the Wah. Do your word history. Because it was everything is there. I might rain down lightning on you and boulders, floods. There's a lot of questions that have been raised again in the information age about the name of this and the name of that. The origin of this and the origin of that, the person of this and the person of that. Aleister Crowley and them are able to use certain Hebrew words and get down and get busy. They were. You've never read the books, you shouldn't read them. But if you know someone who has, that maybe they'll tell you, something you might could learn from. Like me. Crowley and them didn't play with the name of Jesus. They just didn't. People can play with it in a mocking way, or you can call his name in vain. Otherwise, he would say, don't call it. He wouldn't say don't call it if you couldn't call it in vain. So yes, you can call it in vain. Certainly. But I've never in my entire life seen an occult spell activated in the name of Jesus. Can't say the same about Yahweh. Okay, so now, and again, that's just because these spirits are older, wiser, smarter than men. And these spirits have a way of knowing how to jam you up and cement you in. We've been given freedom through Christ the King. And again, people don't want that. You want something more fancier, right? You want something more fancier. I understand. So now here we are, 50 years, supposedly a particular culture that came from the kids in the ghettos of North America has dominated the Americas and the world. It's been 50 years, they say. Me and this thing is the same age. It was born in August, they say. I was born in May, so I'm a couple months older. But we grew up together. I have intimate remembrance of it at a certain age and me at a certain age. When we was both 14, 15, we started getting conscious. We started to question our place in this world. We started to wonder our role in God's kingdom, if there even was such a thing. And the music reflected it. The music reflected it. The music reflected it. Around 18, I'm smelling myself because I'm about to get away from Mama Denise and be a beast out here in these Detroit streets. NWA's second album, Zillfagen is Nervous Dream, came out and took the world by storm. They was wildin'. So was I. Then around 1993, when I would have been about 20, 21, in come narcotics. Smoking, drinking on the regular. Just so happened that Chronic had came out of that album was quite spectacular. All through my life, this thing has walked this blind, bumpy road right alongside me. Little did I know that that thing was actually designed by the enemy to guide me. It had been taken over by the enemy to guide me. I still am torn and struggle with what came first, the chicken or the egg. It's the trauma of living in North America that produced that. It's the low self-esteem that produced the bragging and the boasting that became one of the foundational parts of hip-hop. A way to try to express yourself. I am somebody. See, I can do this. See, I can spin on my head. I may not be able to pass my English class, but I can rap real fast. So it became a way, and our standards for everything. I was watching something and this guy was saying how, the right response to a high school graduation should not be, yeah, woo, all right, you go, Kiki. Yeah, that's right, girl. Yeah. Like that's the finish line. I overstand it. It was hard going to school every day for Kiki. She might have got shot just walking to school. I get it. But the right response should be a more calm and pointed. Very good, very good. This is the first step. This thing that's been influencing children for 50 years. It's been devilish for the majority of that time. And this thing that we call a culture, a cult, it's a cult, has a spirit. And that's the real fifth element. They talk about the elements of hip hop. It's the spirit. Don't talk to me about spirit. This is the spirit of hip hop. Wine and spirits, letting people gay play with you because that's what you got to do. This is the spirit of hip hop. Lying about what you do. Lying about selling drugs. Glorifying selling drugs, glorifying murder, talking about murder, alluding to selling drugs. There's a collision course because there's no way that the people will awaken to becoming chosen or awaken to the idea of possibly being chosen. There's no way that can happen, and this thing still exists the way that it does. They are on a collision course, brothers and sisters, ladies and gentlemen. The idea of being God's people and the idea of being this culture's people, they're coming to a clash. Those ideas are going to have to shoot the fair one. That's also part of what we're seeing today. Now, when I come back here, take a real short water break. I'm going to get into the things that I jotted on my notes. And again, we're going to tie everything in to what is the big picture for Christians and our battle against the enemy and sin. For one, when you see a wave coming, it's good to get on the right side of the wave. And for two, if you see that wave can help to propel you in the right direction, then you want to be sure that you're in the right position to catch the wave, right? So brothers and sisters, ladies and gentlemen, there's a shift happening in the consciousness, in the mind state. And what really worries me is that before these devils let it get so far, they're going to have to hit us with the big trump card. They're going to have to hit us with the end times big deception. Because if the chosen people rise up from wherever they at in Israel, the Ashkenazi, the Khazars, whoever it is, white man, black man, Chinese man, whoever it is, if they begin to walk in the role, and again, at this point, everybody's grafted in, we're equal, Galatians, there is no Jew or Greek, okay, at this point. But then in Revelations, we see, well, I didn't mean that I forgot who they was, okay. But at this point, that's not the focus. But now if those individuals who felt motivated by the idea that they're God's children were to rise up and make certain corrections in society, demand certain accountabilities in society, there would be no need for this end times deception. The end times deception is to make it appear as if there's no way that we're going to get together unless our alien brothers bring us together. Well, if our chosen brothers bring us together, if the body of Christ brings us together, there'll be no reason for that to happen. So the faster it seems that this accountability thing is happening, because remember, there's what God is doing on one side and there's what the devil's doing on the other. They're simultaneously working. The devil means for bad. God turns it around for his good. So while these things are yet working out, make sure that you're on the right side of it. Help. Draw, don't drive. Draw people toward, don't drive people away. And help. Help our brothers and sisters to understand these complex things and how they really occur. But it's all rooted in a basic understanding of the occult. So after these messages, I'm going to come back and I want to give a very basic understanding of the occult as it's engaged in within the quote-unquote entertainment business. Okay? All right, just give me a couple minutes here.
Telling me the trouble I'm in will work out. trust.